everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Patchman Hockey Show. We are the Patchmen. I'm Jimmy and that's John. And on this show, we talk about NHL patches and we teach you the hockey history behind the patch. Every patch has a story behind it and we talk about it right here in Patchman Hockey. This week we're talking about the 1996 NHL All Star Game patch.
In 1996, what a year for sports. Tiger turns pro, Iverson and Kobe get drafted, 96 Dream Team, the Olympics, Avalanche sweep Florida in the Cup. I was a big Florida fan as a child. And we got the All Star Game. So,
yeah,
absolutely packed roster.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the patch here, I mean, the 96 All Star Game took place on January 20th, 1996 at the brand new Fleet Center in Boston, Massachusetts. The old Boston Garden had previously closed. They built a new arena. And I mean, it was time. I mean, the Boston Garden was around for probably like 75 years at that point.
They built a new arena with the yellow seats.
Yep, built a new arena with the standout yellow seats.
Which you're not seeing anymore.
They recently took them out, I think, as of like a year ago. And it's like, you know, all the new arenas, they want to just have like this uniform look. It's also like the Ducks did the same thing at the Honda Center. It's black seats.
Yeah.
And like, I get it on TV, you know, it's not so apparent that there isn't fans sitting there, but I mean, it's character. The yellow seats at the TD Garden, I mean, that's character. I mean, you know where you are. In the 2019 Stanley Cup Finals, the Blues and the Bruins, you knew like, hey, you're in Boston. Like you could just tell from the TV. So it's stupid. They should go back to it. It's really dumb. There's no need for them to do that. Whatever.
Yeah, if anything, it's financial because you go to the Rock, everything's black. And the argument would be, oh, well, Seton Hall plays basketball there. Oh, well, they have concerts that play there. So,
yeah.
Not my favorite decision, but...
No, because sometimes you have, again, you know, the aesthetics of the game. It's like, even the home arenas, the dasher boards, for example, right? Like the black dasher boards, I mean, because they coincide with the team's colors. So you do the same things with the arena, with the chairs in the arena. And it's like, you know, why just keep it yellow, keep it the primary team color. But we digress. So the 96 All-Star Game, the Eastern Conference beat the Western Conference All-Stars 5-4. Ray Bourque scored the game-winning goal with 37.3 seconds left to play.
Overall, a pretty solid game. The East came out strong. Marty had a shutout in the first period.
Yeah, he stopped all the shots. Yeah.
Overall, just a really cool game, and you know, for me at least, just because of the rosters. Like, look here, you have Mario Lemieux and Brett Hull.
I mean, look at these.
Come on.
I mean, this picture just speaks so much. Excuse me. Even the patch itself. The patch itself is pretty. When you look at it from far away, it looks like, oh, it's pretty cool. It's like detailed. But when you really look at it, it's like, it almost looks like a robot on skates, right? I don't know what the red is for. You think that you have a theory about the red.
So when I see this patch, I think of Fox right away. Maybe because Fox has those big the Fox robots that you see now you see on the NFL.
Yep.
So maybe it's that. Not sure. Speaking of Fox, this was the first year they ever used Fox tracks, which some of you might know as the glow puck.
Yeah.
So to use that, you know, I think they used that till '98.
Mm-hmm.
I see old clips. Some people think it's cheesy. I think it's just, you know, nostalgia.
Yeah. You know, you had the All-Star patch wearing the hosting team's colors as well, the black and gold. I'm not sure really what the gray indicates in the patch or the red, but I mean, it comes off pretty cool. I mean, it's a nice size patch.
And once again, if anybody knows who created this patch, please let us know.
Let us know.
You know, there has to be some kind of committee, board or something that comes.
Marketing team.
So as we do more of these, hopefully we get a little bit more insight on it.
Yeah. We're going to learn ourselves too and teach you guys who designed the patches and where the ideas came from. You know, also too, speaking of Brett Hull and Mario Lemieux, look at these jerseys. I mean, you have the star templated jerseys, and you have like a purple color for the Western Conference and a teal color for the East. The Coho gloves and the equipment. I mean, growing up, you had Coho. You had Coho wood stick. I had a Coho wood stick. Yager gloves. I mean, this is like the setup I had when I was 10.
And to all you guys thinking you need $300 sticks and $200 pairs of gloves, he's got a wood stick, and I know that was the technology at the time, but
yeah, really.
It's really not the gear. It's probably you.
So you had the patch, the All Star patch worn on the right shoulder. Then you always had your team patch on the left shoulder, and you can see here you have the Robo Penguin in the '90s. That's what they called it on Mario's shoulder. Very interesting. It's almost 25. It is 25 years ago. Man, oh man, it's crazy how time flies. And looking at this picture, it's like here it is. The patch just really pops on these purple Western Conference jerseys.
Gretzky, Korea, Ed Belfour, Brett Hull's nose.
Brett Hull, he's got this big schnoz, his beak, just sticking in the picture here. But look at that. I mean, this picture. We were talking earlier. It's like you have Gretzky, the veteran at this point, the NHL's leading scorer, greatest scorer of all time. Then you have the young Paul Kariya, the mightiest of the Mighty Ducks, right? He was their first real superstar, just sitting next to the great one. I mean, and Brett Hull, at this point in time, I think he's been in the league for like 7 years or something like that. So, yeah, it's incredible. And the ultralight, I mean, just real sick.
God, seriously.
Yeah.
Belfour would eventually go to Dallas. Hull would go with him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who went first. And then, Gretzky, the Rangers, the Blues.
And even, Sergei Fedorov, like in the back, 91. That was his number, too. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. Again, it's like now, speaking of Boston, you have the hometown heroes here. You have Ray Bourque, who's in the league with the Bruins 17 years at this point. And Cam Neely, big power forward. His career was cut short due to injury. Just a couple of just major Bruins. The MVP, we were saying earlier, of the game. And then look at this. I mean, right here look at this line.
It's amazing. Brendan Shanahan on the Whalers.
He hated being a Hartford Whaler. Yep. The Hartford fans hated him because he didn't like being there. That's why later that season, I think he would get traded to Detroit. Or maybe it was the following season he get traded to Detroit. Then you have Yager with that mullet. I mean, talk about money right here, especially Lemieux and Yager. Just unbelievable. Like, these are, to us as 90s kids, I mean, these are just hockey heroes.
And so this is the final year that they did the East versus West format. And, the next year they would go North America versus the world. They switched it up a little bit, and then in 2003, I believe, they went back to East versus West. But overall, just a star-studded game.
Star-studded game. I mean, even Gretzky, what a shot here. And it's funny, the old Kings logo in the 90s, just a classic logo, a classic shoulder patch logo there. The CCM buckets. Ray Bourque with his hair. I mean, there's a lot going on in these pictures. And also, too, San Jose Shark style socks in a way. That's what it comes off. Their first set of jerseys at the time, right? With the gray and the teal and the white.
Yeah, and these jerseys, I don't hear much about them. A lot of people talk about, you got the reverse retros now.
Yep.
You have your throwback jerseys. You don't hear much about, I want a Western Conference All Star jersey from '96.
Right.
You just don't hear it.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of the rosters, I mean, you had two wagons just playing against each other. And I mean, let's be real, it's a bunch of tummy sticks. I mean, they're not really competing hard. It's really in good fun. But I mean, the starting lineups alone, I mean, John, read the Western Conference. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Seriously. Chelios, Korea, Hull, Belfour. Down here, you have Sakic, Forsberg, Felix Potvin, Osgood. This is probably one of his first or second year in the seat.
Yeah.
Mogilny, Fedorov, Theo Fleury.
Theo
God,
Fleury, what a player! I mean, unbelievable.
if when I was playing NHL '97 on my computer, this would be my roster on the Devils right here. Just gonna trade everybody.
That's when the computer like didn't object.
No,
Just
yeah,
like, oh,
sure.
okay, we'll do the trade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
salary cap, no problem.
yeah,
It's all good.
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it's interesting too. Back then, the Toronto Maple Leafs were in the Western Conference at the time, so it's weird seeing like, oh, Toronto. But if you think about it now, the Detroit Red Wings are in the Eastern Conference now, right?
Yeah, which for a long time, like I just couldn't
Yeah.
wrap my mind around that. I thought Michigan was next California.
Oh man, yeah. So it's crazy, and think about like how many Hall of Famers are here. And then we didn't even touch on the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference, the starting lineup, in goal, the defending Stanley Cup champion, right? Marty Brodeur. You have Scott Stevens in front of him. Then you have Ray Bourque playing with Scott Stevens. Imagine that's your top defensive pairing is Ray Bourque and Scott Stevens, and then you had Mario Lemieux and Yager up front, and Brendan Shanahan playing the right wing. So
I would like to see somebody on the ice, talking smack, nowadays. Yeah, how about you go up against Scott Stevens and Eric Lindros on the same line?
yeah, on the same team. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really incredible. And then you had like Brian Leach and Ron Francis, and there's some underrated guys. And Peter Bondra of Washington Capitals with this screaming eagle. I mean, every picture you look up of Peter Bondra, you see the screaming eagle, and now the Capitals actually just wore this a couple days ago.
Yeah.
The retro reverse jerseys in red. What do you think about the red screaming eagle
It's
jerseys?
interesting. I don't love it. Honestly, I don't love it, but
It's weird. It is weird. I don't know, man. To me, like this is like one of the cleanest jerseys. Like
it's such a cool color.
it's a great blue.
It's like not quite Jaguars teal.
Yeah.
It's like pretty unique.
You have like that bronze color and the black and the white. Like it just really, it's like they really nailed it here. And I'm probably in the minority when I've always wanted the Capitals to bring this jersey back. But a lot of people like the traditional red, white, and blue, which Capitals, Washington, Patriotic. I get it. Like
Sure.
that's fine,
And it's interesting because I keep bringing basketball references, but the Wizards use the same color scheme, didn't they?
There's the same
then-
ownership.
Yeah, and then they moved back to the red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just thought of that. Just
Who the
interesting.
Bullets were.
They were the Bullets.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Interesting.
you got John Van Beesbrook on here. God, what a goalie.
What a mess.
Iconic mask. Again, cover athlete of NHL '97, my favorite game.
Yeah. Yeah, he really was like the first star of the Florida Panthers. I mean, they picked him in the draft, the expansion draft.
They did. They took him from Philly or New York?
New York. He
New
was
York.
on. He actually, I think he was the starting goalie for the Rangers, and I think Richter was behind him. And I guess they came to a crossroads, like who we're gonna let go of, Van Beesbrook, Richter, and
Golden age of goalies.
I mean Richter.
Richter.
Richter won them a cup, '94, and I don't think Van Beesbrook ever won a cup.
I don't think so.
Came close.
No.
96 with the Panthers, 01 with the Devils. He was the backup. The Flyers didn't call him.
No.
No, he didn't.
Not with him.
Not with him. No. Yeah, very interesting. Dominic Hasek. I mean, we mentioned him earlier. Classy move to give Ray Bourque the MVP in the game. The Dominator. I mean, when I think back to like these '90s goalies of Brodeur, Patrick Roy, Hasek, and then I look at them now, I feel like, you have goalies like Roberto Luongo, Carey Price, but I feel like they're just a step beneath Patrick Roy and Dominic Hasek and Brodeur. I mean,
And they weren't playing with the big guys they got nowadays.
that's true.
But they're also not playing against,
Right. Yeah.
the caliber of some of these NHL players right now, consistently shooting,
Yeah. That's true. I mean, what? I just can't get over the names. Like, you just read this and think about where that person ended up. Owen Nolan. The '97 All Star Game, and when we get that patch and we talk about that, he was the one that called his shot over to Dominic Hasek, right? Where you pointed
Yep.
and that's a ballsy move. You gotta have some cojones to do that.
Well, overall, what a great game. Awesome season.
Team Mussolani would go to the Mighty Ducks at Anaheim. He'd get traded shortly after this. Who else? What are some of the... Now,
Theo Fleury,
yes. Mike Gartner. Nobody talks about Mike Gartner, but let me tell you something. This guy is, I think, 8th all-time scoring. Yeah, and Alexander Ovechkin actually just passed him. So you think of like Gordie Howe and Mario Lemieux and Mark Messier and Gretzky. Nobody ever talks about Mike Gartner. So, yeah, very interesting. Alexander Mogilny was just a prolific goal scorer. When the Devils got him a few years later, I was like, wow, this is it. Like, money right here. Mark Messier, Ron Francis, John LeClaire, Daniel Alfredsson, I think, was a rookie with the Ottawa Senators at that time. And, he just retired, I think 4 or 5 years ago. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was Googling around for this, I found the skills competition, Alfredsson versus Fedorov in fastest skater, and oh my god,
Yeah,
these guys could move, and it's insane.
Yeah.
And then one coach, Scotty Bowman,
Bowman, legendary. Then you had honorary captains, which was cool. Glenn Hall, Hall of Fame goalie, and Bobby Orr, of course. Hometown legend, right? Hometown meaning that's his team. He's not from Boston, obviously. He's from Canada. Mark Crawford, assistant coach, and Eddie Johnston of the Penguins. Mark Crawford was the head coach of the Colorado Avalanche, who would eventually lead the Colorado Avalanche to the Stanley Cup that season.
Yeah.
And they swept the Florida Panthers.
And Doug McClain.
Yep. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, there's a bunch of ties there. Yeah. Cool stuff. Yeah, great game. Yeah. It was an awesome era in the NHL was the 90s. And growing up, you playing the video games, you see all these names and just you have so many Hall of Famers right here.
Yeah. So we hope you guys enjoyed this. Like we said, we're going to just keep coming out with content, and hopefully as this gets bigger, we want to hear from you guys. We want to do some patches that you guys want, do some giveaways, make this fun.
Yeah, do some giveaways. We'll do some polls. Follow us at Patchman Hockey on Twitter and Instagram. Episode 4 coming at you next week. And please hit the subscribe button and continue to follow us. We got plenty more great content on the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.